a surprising study on aging and strength. Let's begin with a simple story, one that might challenge what you thought you knew about aging. A few years ago, researchers conducted a clinical trial involving older adults who were experiencing reduced muscle strength. The condition has a clinical name, sarcopenia. Now, sarcopenia might sound like a fancy term, but it's something millions live with every day. It's that quiet, sneaky process that makes it harder to climb stairs, get out of a chair, or even walk for extended periods without fatigue. What's worse, many people think this is just normal aging. But it's not just aging, it's about nutrition, inflammation, and activity levels. Here's the kicker. In that study, when participants added just a few key micronutrients, yes, simple vitamins, to their diets, combined with light daily movement, they saw real, measurable improvements in lower body strength. Not in months, in weeks. This isn't about miracle pills. It's about supporting your body with the right tools. Tired of the noise? Here's a clearer map. If you're over 60, you've probably heard dozens of health tips. Eat more protein. Cut the carbs. Do more squats. Drink collagen. Sound familiar? What's missing from all this advice isn't knowledge. It's clarity. Most people don't need more rules. They need a reliable, simple plan that actually works for their life. Today's talk is different. We're not chasing trends. We're chasing function. It's about your ability to move, to stand tall, walk steadily, and feel confident in your body. We're going to explore how a few science-backed vitamins, paired with small daily actions, can help you build stronger legs faster and more reliably than most people realize. Aging does not automatically mean decline. What if your legs weren't just getting older, they were getting less supported? And what if you could fix that? What this episode covers. In this episode, I'll guide you through the 3 most powerful vitamins for leg strength and balance. Why these nutrients are more important now than they were in your 40s. What real studies, including randomized controlled trials, tell us about muscle growth and mobility in seniors. How to use these vitamins effectively, without hype, overpriced supplements, or complicated diets. This is about using science as a tool, not a weapon. And yes, we'll go deep on vitamin D, but we'll also unpack how it interacts with protein, muscle fiber, and your daily habits. Whether your goal is to walk farther, feel steadier on stairs, or just move without hesitation, this conversation is for you. The reframe, vitamins as movement catalysts. Let's start with a reframe. Most people think vitamins are for bone health or immune support. But here's what they really are, catalysts. Think of them like spark plugs, especially for your legs. Your muscles still have strength inside them. They're just waiting for the right support to ignite. Here's an unexpected example. Your ability to get up from a chair without using your hands. That simple act, called a sit-to-stand, is actually one of the strongest predictors of independence in older adults. And guess what researchers found? Vitamin D more than a bone vitamin. Older adults who struggle to rise from a chair often have low vitamin D levels. Not just a little low, clinically deficient. Most of us know vitamin D as the bone vitamin. But newer research shows it plays a critical role in muscle strength and contraction, especially in the lower body. One example, a 2014 randomized controlled trial in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism tracked women with an average age of 67. After supplementing with vitamin D3 for 9 months, those who raised their blood D levels saw real gains in leg strength and balance, even without changing their exercise routine. Why it works? The science of vitamin D. Vitamin D works like a hormonal switch. It helps your body synthesize proteins involved in muscle contraction, especially type 2 muscle fibers, the fast twitch fibers that help you climb stairs, catch yourself from falling, rise quickly from a chair. As we age, we lose these fibers faster than the slow twitch kind. But vitamin D helps slow that loss, giving your muscles more firepower. How common is deficiency? Here's the practical side. Between 40% and 60% of adults over 60 in the US are vitamin D insufficient, depending on the season. Your risk is higher if you live in the north, spend most time indoors, have darker skin, which reduces natural vitamin D synthesis, And even if you eat well, it's hard to get enough vitamin D from food. Fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified milk help, but often fall short. What to do? Testing and dosing. Step 1. Know your baseline. Ask your doctor for a 25-hydroxyvitamin D blood test. This is the gold standard for measuring D status. If your levels are under 30 nanograms per milliliter, many experts consider that too low. Some clinicians recommend aiming for 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter, especially if you're working on strength or mobility. Common supplement doses for seniors range from 1,000 to 2,000 IU per day of vitamin D3, ideally taken with a meal that includes fat, which improves absorption. Don't forget magnesium. Here's a twist most people miss. Magnesium is necessary to activate vitamin D in your body. Without enough magnesium, you might take vitamin D for months and feel no benefit. Magnesium-rich foods include leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, nuts, and legumes. Or consider a small magnesium supplement, ideally magnesium glycinate or citrate, which are better absorbed. The bigger picture: strength is autonomy. This isn't just about blood levels or muscle fibers. It's about your freedom. Stronger legs mean walking without fear of falling, climbing stairs confidently, carrying groceries with ease, keeping up with grandkids, staying independent longer. So what's one step to take this week? If you haven't checked your vitamin D in the last 12 months, start there. Then decide: food, sun, or supplement. If this kind of practical, science-backed information resonates with you, you're in the right place. Stick around. The next section explores a different vitamin, one that improves how your nerves and muscles communicate. The hidden vitamin that powers your movement, vitamin B12. It's not just muscle, it's the signal. Let's shift the focus. Imagine this: your legs are relatively strong. You're walking a little, maybe even doing some resistance training. You're eating well, getting protein, stretching, doing everything right. And yet you're still a bit wobbly. You hesitate before stepping off a curb. You trip over the rug more often. Your foot doesn't always clear the step. What if the problem isn't your muscles? What if it's the signal? Vitamin B12, the forgotten player in strength and balance. Enter vitamin B12, one of the most overlooked nutrients when it comes to leg strength, coordination, and fall risk. Most people think of B12 in relation to energy or memory, but in reality, B12 is essential for how your nervous system and muscles communicate. B12 plays a vital role in building and maintaining myelin, the protective sheath around your nerves. Think of myelin like the insulation around an electrical wire. Without it, signals slow down, fizzle, or misfire. What happens when B12 is low? If B12 runs low, nerve conduction slows down. The result? Slower reflexes, numbness or tingling, missteps or hesitation, shaky balance, muscle misfires. You may not feel tired. You may not have memory problems. You may even have normal labs. But if your balance is off or your walking speed has declined, B12 might be the missing piece. In a 2020 study in the journal Nutrients, older adults with lower B12 levels had slower gait speed, weaker balance, and increased fall risk, even when they had no other typical symptoms. Why are so many older adults low in B12? Here's the shocking part. Even people who eat meat, dairy, or eggs, common sources of B12, can still be low. Why? Two major reasons. Absorption declines with age. As we get older, our stomachs produce less hydrochloric acid, the key ingredient that frees B12 from food. Common medications block absorption. Metformin, for type 2 diabetes. Proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, like omeprazole, for reflux. Some blood pressure meds. So even if your diet is solid, your body might not be absorbing B12 efficiently. Testing B12 properly. Getting tested is important, but many standard tests miss functional B12 deficiency. Here's what to know. A serum B12 level under 200 pg/ml is considered deficient. Low normal, 200 to 400 pg/ml, may still cause symptoms. If you have symptoms like tingling, balance issues, or leg weakness, push for additional tests like methylmalonic acid, MMA, homocysteine. These tests are better at detecting whether your cells are actually using B12 effectively. Supplementation. Simple and safe. If your B12 levels are low or borderline, supplementation is safe, affordable, and effective. Daily needs for adults are only about 2.4 micrograms per day, but for older adults with absorption issues, common doses range from 250 to 500 mcg/day, sometimes more for a short period. And here's a useful tip. Sublingual B12, that dissolves under the tongue, can work just as well as injections. It bypasses the gut and goes straight into the bloodstream. That's especially helpful for older adults with low stomach acid or GI absorption issues. B12 is water-soluble, so any extra is simply flushed out, making toxicity almost unheard of. Real-life impact, from dragging feet to confident steps. When nerve signals are clearer and faster, your muscles respond better. Here's what improves: reaction time, posture, coordination, confidence in walking. A participant from a community walking group put it best. "I didn't change my workouts. I just started taking B12 after a test, and I stopped dragging my right foot." That's what happens when you support not just your muscles, but your nervous system too. What you can do this week. So what's your action step? Eat a B12-rich breakfast, fortified cereal, eggs, or dairy. Ask your doctor for a B12 test, especially if you're on medications like metformin or PPIs. Try a sublingual B12 supplement, especially if you've felt unsteady or tired for no clear reason. Remember, this isn't about taking pills for the sake of it. It's about taking one small, smart step that can change how you move, stand, and walk. And if that kind of insight resonates with you, evidence-based, practical, no fluff, you're in the right community. We're here to build knowledge that actually helps people live better. Next, we'll talk about a third vitamin that's not often mentioned for muscles, but plays a huge role in your bones, joints, and long-term leg function. The calcium director. Why vitamin K2 matters more than you think. K2, the vitamin you've probably never heard of. You've probably heard of vitamin K, especially in the context of blood clotting. But did you know there are two distinct types of vitamin K? And only one of them plays a crucial role in your bones, joints, and muscle function. Let's break it down. Vitamin K1, found in leafy greens like spinach and kale, great for blood clotting. Vitamin K2, specifically -7 Malawian quaches found in fermented foods, some cheeses, and egg yolks. And this one, it's the bone and mobility superstar that most people miss entirely. If you care about leg strength after 60, this might be the most underrated nutrient you need to know. K2's secret power. Telling calcium where to go. Here's what makes K2 so powerful. It's a traffic director for calcium. It sends calcium into your bones and teeth. Just as importantly, it keeps calcium out of your arteries and joints. That last part matters, because without enough K2, the calcium you take, even from D3 supplements or food, can go to the wrong places, can harden arteries, can stiffen joints, it can increase cardiovascular risk. That's the danger of uncalibrated calcium intake, and the solution is K2. The two key proteins K2 activates. Vitamin K2 activates two essential proteins. Osteocalcin helps bind calcium into bones, increasing bone density and strength. Matrix GLA protein, MGP, helps prevent calcium buildup in arteries and soft tissue. Think of K2 as the software that tells your body where to install the building materials, calcium. Without it, the system malfunctions. Bones weaken, joints stiffen, arteries clog. For your legs, that means reduced flexibility, higher fracture risk, and even slower walking speed. Real-life impact, what the research shows. A 2017 observational study in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging found something fascinating. Older adults with higher vitamin K2 intake had better leg extension power, faster walking speed, improved mobility, and these results held true even after controlling for age and exercise habits. Let that sink in. Simply eating more K2-rich foods was linked to measurable improvements in mobility and strength, without new workouts or supplements. Why K2 deficiency is so common. So why don't we hear more about K2? Simple. It's not widely found in the Western diet. The richest source is a Japanese food called natto, a sticky, fermented soybean dish. It's nutritious, but let's be honest, natto isn't exactly popular in the US or Europe. It's pungent, gooey, and definitely an acquired taste. Other sources include aged cheeses like Gouda and Brie, egg yolks from pasture-raised chickens, fermented dairy like kefir or yogurt with live cultures. K2 supplements, usually labeled -7 Malawian kwaches, the most bioavailable form. Most older adults aren't eating enough fermented foods to meet their needs, so supplementation may help fill the gap. Supplementing K2, dosage and safety. K2 supplements are safe and effective, especially when paired with vitamin D3 and a bit of fat for absorption. Typical doses in studies range from 90 to 200 micrograms per day of -7 Malawian kwaches. It's non-toxic, doesn't interact with most medications, with the exception of some blood thinners, and is generally very well tolerated. If you're already taking vitamin D3, pairing it with K2 can enhance its effectiveness and reduce the risk of calcium building up in the wrong places. Remember, D3 helps absorb calcium. K2 tells your body where to use it. Why K2 flies under the radar. K2 doesn't show up on most multivitamins or fortified food labels. Why? It's hard to measure in blood, so it's less studied. There's no major commercial lobby behind it. It's not required in US food fortification guidelines. But the science is catching up, and so are functional medicine practitioners and mobility researchers. If you care about being able to squat, walk, climb stairs, or play with your grandkids, K2 might be the most powerful addition to your nutrient toolkit. Vitamins work better together. Here's the bigger lesson. No vitamin works alone. One of the biggest mistakes we make with nutrition is treating nutrients like they operate in silos. In reality, they're part of a system, a network, a symphony. Let's look at a few examples. Vitamin D3 needs magnesium to be converted into its active form. Vitamin D3 plus resistance training improves muscle growth far more than either alone. B12 supports nerve signaling, but omega-3s help nerve membranes stay fluid. K2 works best when vitamin A and D are also present, like a relay team locking calcium into place. It's not about megadosing one miracle nutrient. It's about building a strong foundation with smart combinations, food, supplements, and daily habits that work together. What the science says about synergy. A 2019 meta-analysis in Osteoporosis International studied older adults who combined vitamin D with light strength training. The result? They experienced significantly greater gains in leg press power than those who just trained or just supplemented. That's the synergy. Nutrients prime the environment, but movement is the signal that tells your body to grow stronger. Same goes for B12. Nerve function improves with B12, but the quality of nerve-muscle communication also depends on omega-3s, hydration, and sleep. And K2? It's most effective when you're also giving your bones a reason to grow, like walking, gentle resistance, or stretching. Practical takeaways. Build the network. So here's your practical takeaway. Don't chase isolated fixes. Instead, eat a balanced, varied plate. Leafy greens, eggs, fermented foods, legumes, nuts, fish. Use supplements only when needed, based on symptoms or test results. Keep moving. Even a 10-minute walk signals your body to use the nutrients you provide. Your body is like a construction site. The vitamins are your tools. The protein and fats are the raw materials. But movement, that's the foreman, the one who decides if building actually happens. Without movement, all the nutrients in the world won't help. Food first, values always, building strength with stealth nutrition. Your body needs tools, materials, and a signal. Let's return to the analogy. Your body is a construction site. Vitamins are the tools, screwdrivers, wrenches, drills. Protein and fats are the raw materials, the wood and steel. Movement is the foreman, the one who tells everyone when to build. Without movement, no one picks up the hammer. Without raw materials, nothing gets built. And without tools, well, nothing gets built right. That's why this talk isn't just about D, B12, and K2. It's about how they fit into a system. And that system isn't just biochemical, it's also behavioral and ethical. Don't just take the vitamins, use them. So here's a shift in mindset. Don't just take the vitamins. Use them. Get outside for 10 minutes after breakfast. Activate that vitamin D. Add a fermented food to your lunch, support K2. Eat leafy greens or pumpkin seeds for magnesium. Support your whole vitamin network. Take a light resistance walk while listening to a podcast. Make your legs earn those nutrients. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's about stacking small, achievable habits that reinforce each other. This is what we call stealth nutrition, weaving health into your life, quietly, consistently, and meaningfully. Beyond the bottle, every supplement has a story. Now let's talk about something you won't hear in a lot of vitamin commercials: values. Behind every capsule of D3 or B12 is a system, a supply chain, a farm, factory, or lab. A set of decisions that shape your health and the planet's health too. So let's take a wider lens. Food first. Always. This isn't philosophy, it's physiology. Your body evolved to get nutrients from whole foods, where they're wrapped in fiber, phytonutrients, enzymes,
Gut supportive compounds.
cofactors that science hasn't even fully discovered yet. For example, a bowl of black beans isn't just fiber and protein. It's also potassium, folate, magnesium, prebiotics for your gut, and phytochemicals that calm inflammation. A salad isn't just vitamin K1, it's microbiome food. A banana isn't just potassium. It may improve your leg cramp threshold by hydrating cells. Real food does more than one job, especially in older adults. When food isn't enough, responsible supplementation. Sometimes food isn't enough, and that's not a failure. It's physiology again. If you're over 60, you might produce less stomach acid. If you take metformin, PPIs, or blood pressure meds, your B12 absorption is likely impaired. If you live in northern latitudes or avoid sun, for good reasons, you might need D3. If you've had gut issues, inflammation, or restricted eating patterns, your magnesium, omega-3s, or K2 might need support. In these cases, targeted, intentional supplementation is smart, not excessive. But how we supplement and which brands we support matters. Know what you're supporting. Not all supplements are equal. Some are third-party tested, e.g., NSF, USP, Consumer Lab. Others, filled with binders, sugars, or artificial colors. Some are sustainably sourced. Others come from animal products with no ethical oversight. Let's take a few examples. Vitamin D3 is usually derived from lanolin, a wax from sheep's wool. Not bad, but if you're vegan, you might prefer lichen-derived D3. Vitamin K2, -7 Malawian kwaches, can come from fermented soybeans, natural, bioavailable, or cheap synthetic forms, less effective. B12 supplements can vary wildly in purity, absorbability, and form. Methylcobalamin is better absorbed than cyanocobalamin for many people. If you care about your health, it's not just about what's in the pill, it's about what system you're supporting with your purchase. Ethical nutrition, a ripple effect. You vote with your dollars not just for your body but for farming practices, environmental stewardship, worker conditions, packaging waste, community access. This is where values meet vitamins. So yes, you can build stronger legs and walk better with D3, B12, and K2. But you can also walk the talk by choosing clean, transparent, third-party tested, and ethically sourced supplements. It's health that isn't isolated, it's integrated. What should your foundation look like? Let's make it practical. Here's a daily Food First Plus supplement-supported template for healthy, mobile aging. Breakfast. Fortified B12 cereal with kefir or yogurt. Add pumpkin seeds or walnuts. Optional. D3 plus K2 soft gel with coffee with fat. Lunch. Leafy green salad with tahini, avocado, or olive oil. Lentils or chickpeas for protein, magnesium. Fermented vegetables. 4K2 and gut health. Dinner. Fatty fish, salmon, sardines, or eggs. Steamed greens, sweet potato, or quinoa. Small square of dark chocolate. Yes, For magnesium, movement, 10 to 20 minutes of walking or light strength, resistance bands count. This isn't a diet plan. It's a nutrient rhythm. One you can live with, adjust to your culture, your taste, your body. Stealth nutrition, when good choices are quietly powerful. This is the heart of stealth nutrition. It's not about radical overhauls or guilt-based health fads. It's about aligning your habits with your values, building meals that nourish and delight, supplementing intentionally, making small shifts that build toward big capability. You don't need to detox. You need to rebuild function day by day, bite by bite, step by step. And when you do that, you don't just get stronger legs. You get more confidence, more capability, more freedom, more you. From insight to action, how to make strength habits stick. The problem isn't discipline, it's fit. Here's something we've learned over and over again in real-world health studies. It's not the perfect plan that works. It's the plan you can actually live with. And that's the core idea behind the DFIT study, where researchers followed over 600 adults for an entire year. They weren't just tracking what people should do. They were looking at what people actually did. The takeaway? Simplicity, visibility, and emotional connection matter far more than complexity or intensity. Step 1. Start with one shift, not a total overhaul. When people try to improve their health, they often do this. Buy 3 new supplements. Overhaul their entire pantry. Sign up for a 5-day-a-week workout plan. And then, it all falls apart. Why? Because your brain treats massive change like a stressor. It resists. It shuts down. But if you change just one thing, your brain treats it as a choice. Something you decided. Something manageable. So try this. Start your day with a D3 plus K2 soft gel beside your coffee. Or add a fortified yogurt or cereal for B12. Or walk 10 minutes after lunch to activate your vitamin D. One shift. Simple. Daily. That's how it starts. Step 2. Stack the habit. This one's powerful. It comes from behavioral psychology and is called habit stacking. You take something you already do every day and attach the new habit to it. For example, if you walk after lunch, make that your vitamin D time. If you read before bed, leave your B12 or magnesium next to your book. If you always brush your teeth in the morning, store your supplements next to your toothbrush. Why does this work? Because it hijacks an existing neural pathway. No new routine to invent, just a layer added to a familiar groove. Step 3. Use environmental nudges. Willpower is overrated. Environment is underrated. What you see, you do. So, don't hide your supplements behind cereal boxes or in dark cabinets. Put them in a tray by your tea kettle or on your desk. Put your fermented foods or greens in clear containers, front and center in your fridge. And here's a surprising trick. If you set out your walking shoes where you can see them, by the door, not in the closet, you're more likely to move daily. Make your environment remind you, not resist you. Step 4. Track outcomes that actually matter to you. A lot of wellness apps want you to chase numbers. 1,200 milligrams of calcium, 8,000 steps, 70 grams of protein. But for long-term change, what matters most is how you feel and function, not arbitrary metrics. So here's a better set of outcomes to track. Can you get up from a chair more easily? Does your walk feel smoother, longer, less tiring? Are you catching your toe less? Climbing stairs with more confidence? Even subtle improvements count, and they build momentum. Write it down. Take note, because those changes are your real reward, not just good behavior, but proof of capability returning. Step 5. Anchor everything to your personal why. Nobody wants stronger legs just to have stronger legs. You want stronger legs so you can travel without fear, garden again without back pain, walk with your grandkids, dance with your spouse, stay independent into your 70s and 80s. That's your why, and it's way more powerful than willpower. So write it down. Seriously, try this. I'm taking these small steps every day so I can stay active, independent, and confident. So I can keep showing up fully for myself and the people I love. That clarity will carry you when life gets messy, because it always does. But when you're anchored in your why, you come back to center. Real health equals pattern recognition, not perfection. This is where people often get stuck, thinking that one missed walk or skip supplement means they've failed. That's a myth. The people who succeed in building long-term strength don't do it perfectly. They do it consistently. They notice what's working, adjust what isn't, keep showing up, gently, firmly, persistently. This isn't a sprint. It's not a 21-day challenge. It's a new normal built from small, repeatable wins. Recap the leg strength blueprint. Let's zoom out. Here's what we've covered so far. Vitamin D3 supports fast-twitch muscle fibers for climbing stairs, balance, and power. Vitamin B12 optimizes nerve signals so your muscles actually respond. Vitamin K2 directs calcium into bones, not joints, improving structural integrity. Magnesium, protein, and omega-3s, critical support nutrients for activation and recovery. Fermented foods and leafy greens, stealth delivery systems for K2, magnesium, and gut health. Movement, the non-negotiable signal that makes everything else work. Supplement ethics. Every capsule is a vote for quality, transparency, and sustainable health. Behavior design. Small shifts, stacked habits, visible reminders, anchored to a deep personal why. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. Please hear this. You are not too old to build strength. You are not too far gone to reclaim function. You are not alone in trying to figure this out. We've seen it in research, in clinics, in communities, in people like you. Someone who feared stairs, now hiking again. Someone who struggled with foot drag, now walking clean. Someone who felt weak for years, now squatting comfortably. Not through gimmicks, but through daily action on the right fundamentals. That's what we're doing here. Grounded change. Slow strength. Real results. Stronger legs aren't the goal, they're the means. Let's end with a reframe. Stronger legs are not the goal. Stronger legs are the means to a freer, fuller life. They help you walk with loved ones, carry groceries without fear, travel with ease, rise without bracing, dance, hike, kneel, climb, stay independent, and stay you. That's the point. So if you take one step today, try a new plant-based, vitamin-rich meal. Spend 10 minutes in the sun. Schedule a vitamin D or B12 test. Or just take a moment to reconnect with your why. That's where change begins. Your stronger future starts with one grounded step. One small change is all it takes. Let's strip it all down. If you've listened this far, you already know what to do, why it matters, how it works. But here's the most important part. You don't have to do it all today. You only need one small action to start the chain. Try this: a warm bowl of lentils with leafy greens and fermented veggies. A 10-minute walk in the morning light. A soft gel of D3 and K2 beside your breakfast. A quick call to your doctor to ask about a 25-OH, D or B12 test. Just one. Because real change isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, repetitive, effective. That's how bodies get stronger. That's how habits become second nature. That's how you move forward. Community rooted in evidence, not hype. If this talk resonates, if this type of evidence-based, practical, clear health education feels different than the usual fads, I'd like to invite you to stick around. Hit subscribe, leave a comment, and join this growing community of people who value science, seek clarity, care about living fully, not just longer, want strength, autonomy, and vitality in every decade of life. This is your space, and your journey doesn't end here. What we've built together today. Let's zoom out one last time. You learned how sarcopenia works and how it's not just age but nutrient and movement driven. You learned about 3 critical vitamins. D3 for muscle activation, B12 for nerve signaling, K2 for calcium direction and structural support. You saw how they interact with conutrients like magnesium, protein, and omega-3s. You learned how food-first strategies and ethical supplementation go hand in hand. You now know how to build real habits. Starting small, stacking behaviors, tracking function, and anchoring to your why. You've redefined success not by how much you do, but how consistently and clearly you support your body's needs. And most importantly, you've been reminded you are not too old to get stronger. You are not too far gone to recover function. You are not alone in this process. The deeper reason we do this work: we don't chase strong legs for aesthetics. We chase strong legs for what they give us: the ability to carry groceries without fear, the strength to stand up from a chair and look someone in the eye, the balance to walk with a grandchild without hesitation, the energy to get on a plane, hike a hill, or dance in the kitchen. That's the real outcome. Mobility equals confidence. Strength equals freedom. Function equals joy. This isn't vanity. It's dignity. And it's yours to reclaim. Final challenge. Say yes to one new habit this week. Let's close with something tangible. Choose one. Food. Add one new plant-based, vitamin-rich meal. Lentils, leafy greens, fermented yogurt, or a handful of seeds. Sunlight. Spend 10 minutes in the early morning or late afternoon sun. No sunscreen, just gentle exposure. Testing. Ask your doctor about checking your vitamin D or B12 levels, especially if you haven't in the past year. Movement. Do a sit-to-stand test once a day. Rise from your chair without using your hands. Track how it improves. Pick just one and do it this week. Write it down. Set a reminder. Tell someone. That one shift is the seed of your stronger future. Your health is worth fighting for and supporting. Thank you for being here. Not just for your body, but for your mind, your future, and your freedom. Thank you for caring enough to learn, for staying curious, for resisting shortcuts and choosing a grounded path instead. Let's build something together. Not a quick fix, but a long, steady return to strength. One grounded step at a time. See you in the next video. And until then, walk tall, stand proud, and keep going. You've got this.